Okay. Okay. You have come to the talk just for the talk. Wow. Okay. Okay. Thanks so much for that. And we'll make sure that you get something out of this talk, which will be worth it. Okay. Um, so then let me start. Okay. At the end of this presentation, this is the agenda. You're going to be knowing about the common attitudes or problems that startups have. Basically, the common problems that startups have and what are the right attitudes to make sure that they work. Okay, that's the idea. At the end of these 20 minutes, this should happen. Okay, so first, let's go for a short story. 6 months ago, I was having a normal stand-up with the product team, and they said that, this is something I'll never forget. They showed a graph of sales. Okay, average daily sales in June is 8. Average daily sales in August is something like 7. So 7, 7, 7, 6, 7, 7. This is like a like a phone number, like 8, 7, 6, 5. ऐसे चल रहा है. Now, then they said that because you're seeing a flat graph right over here, this means that your product is stable. It is in a mature phase. You have reached maturity phase. And I don't know how I reacted. I was so angry कि a startup which is mature, like sales are not increasing. There's many polite ways of saying this, but this was almost insulting to my intelligence. So then I said, okay, fine. We are going at 8 or 7 on average. Let's make that 70 in 6 months. Now here's this hero, the startup founder. He comes, he tells his team, 10x कर देंगे. And then everyone starts working and he's just looking at, मैंने तो बहुत महान काम किया है. Right? This might be something that a lot of you might think. Especially, let's go there. Oh, sorry. No, let's say think big is also the idea. But when I tell you think big, 10x, what are the first reactions which come to your mind? Let's say your manager or somebody who you're reporting to tells you that I have to make the number of support calls 1/10. Yeah, I have to increase sales by 10 times. Yeah, I want 10 times more users every day. What's your first reaction? What are some thoughts that come to your mind? Impossible. Okay. This is ridiculous. Okay. How will we do it? Okay, so that's an optimistic approach. That's a really good approach. What is lacking right now for us to go to the 10x? Okay. Very, very optimistic, folks. Why hasn't it happened till now? What were you waiting for? In my team, right, when I used to work as an engineer, there was this guy, Gaurav Sen. He was very negative. He used to be like, this guy is not really meaning it, motivation के लिए बोल रहा है, झाड़ रहा है थोड़ा सा. Or yeah, he must be saying because, नहीं हो रहा है, he's trying something new, or he's just bullshitting. Basically, 10x is not possible. But here's the idea. When you think big, you start looking at problems in a different way. If there's 100 of you here, I want to have an event with 100 people. Catholic Club book कर देते हैं, we'll send emails, Razorpay में page बना देंगे, चीज़ें हो जाएंगी. Okay? I want an event with 1,000 people. Slightly harder. We need a big auditorium, or we need an open space actually. इतना खाना कहाँ से लाएंगे? ये maintain करने के लिए we need a big team. Okay. I need 10,000 people. It's much, much, much tougher. Your solutions are getting more complex and your solutions are getting much more advanced. Also, your solutions are also not just one part. जैसे अगर 100 को मुझे 200 बनाना है ना, all I'll say is send 2x the emails. Make the web page slightly nicer. I'll think small. If you want to actually fundamentally solve the problem, then you have to think at 10x. 2x is not the thing. If I want to increase sales, I send 2 times the number of mails, sales बढ़ जाता है. I make the page slightly better, sales बढ़ जाता है. No, if you want 10x, you have to think big. Okay, so that's the idea. Now, here's the common thing. You'll also see this happening all around the world. Sales are low. Why? Because the number of views are low. People are not coming to the website here. ठीक है. Why are the views low? Word of mouth is less. Word of mouth is less. अच्छा. Why is word of mouth less? Sales is low. इंडिया में बहुत पॉवर्टी है. पॉवर्टी क्यों है? पॉपुलेशन बहुत ज़्यादा है सर, रिसोर्सेज कम है. पॉपुलेशन ज़्यादा क्यों है? सर एजुकेशन नहीं है, लोग मतलब फैमिली प्लानिंग नहीं करते हैं. एजुकेशन क्यों नहीं है? सर पावर्टी है. पावर्टी का रीज़न पावर्टी है, सेल्स कम होने का रीज़न सेल्स कम होना ही है. राइट? दीज आर cycles, these are self-fulfilling prophecies or cycles which are, I'll actually ask the audience, what do you think is the problem with this kind of thinking, or where do you see a solution to this kind of thinking? India has developed a lot in the past 50 years. If our government, all successive governments was thinking, yahi ki poverty ka solution poverty hai, then we would have gone nowhere. What is the solution which you can actually apply in your startups? Implement something, okay? Try something, okay, okay, experiment, okay? Working backwards, okay? My concerns with these two suggestions, right, is implement something में views जब मैंने implement किया और नहीं आए, तो लोग बोलेंगे क्योंकि आपका sales ना कम था इसलिए, या word of mouth कम था. And working backwards, circle मैंने बनाया अच्छे से, so that when you try to work also, I'll put you back in the same circle. Branding the image around my USP, that might, so you're thinking outside the box. You're no longer stuck with sales views and word of mouth. Okay, that's quite good. Just once again, try existing solutions. Existing solutions, models, optimize it for your own thing. Okay, so this may not work. Sorry. Yes, absolutely. You get a T-shirt for that if we have it in stock, of course. It's paid, right? That T-shirt? No, okay. No, that's a really good answer. You think outside the box. Sales ka problem sales nahi hai. Sales ka problem, if you see, when you find other factors, is this. It's no longer a cycle. It's a much more complex graph with interconnections, with multiple things affecting things. Like for example, views are not there. Probably because you have poor SEO, dude. Your sales are not doing well, and weak promotions. What about word of mouth? Word of mouth क्यों नहीं है? What do you think is the most common reason word of mouth नहीं है? Customers are not fulfilled. Yes. Bad experience. Buggy product. क्यों मैं अपने दोस्त को जाके अपनी इज्जत गवाऊं? हाँ, तुम्हारा word of mouth करके नहीं करूँगा. It's totally normal. Sales. Unclear messaging. Maybe when they come to the product page and they're going to buy, they're like, dude, I don't even know what I'm buying. मैं क्यों खरीदूँ? It could also be that, the payments are failing, which we realized, Razorpay and StripePay. A lot of our payments used to fail. We didn't have any notifications or anything set up. But why didn't we have that? Because we were not even looking at these problems. So when we started looking at other factors, we started realizing, okay, there are things we can pick up and improve. But what do we improve? Which part of this do you think we should go first? I'm a greedy guy. Huh? Failing payments, okay, that's a good idea. Product, someone said for a product, okay. Customer experience, okay. Quality of product and marketing, good. Good personal branding, that will help bring in the name. Bad experiences need to be cut down. Yes, we have a person who had a really bad experience at InterviewReady actually. I'm not even joking, he's with us, which shows that maybe we might have converted him thoda sa. How do I make him rebuy the product now, is the problem. No, but here's the good thing. What should you fix? Everything. That is 10x. You fix one part, 1.5x. You fix another part, ठीक है, जा रहा है. If you really want a step growth, then you have to fix all of it. And you have to give them all weightage. It sounds insane, but just keep this idea for a second. You have to fix everything that you know about. Okay? That's when you'll see the power of compounding. There is one formula which is 10 times x, मतलब 10 times mailer भेजो, या फिर 10 times लोगों को पकड़ के threaten करो with a gun कि खरीद लो product. Or you can, one of the things you can do is, you improve SEO by 50%, you improve sales by 50%, you improve word of mouth by 50%, and then you see 1.5 raised to the power x हो जाता है. That compounding power is much stronger than 10 times. Okay, so that's the idea. We want to do all of it. Two big ideas till now. Think big and fix problems. Very good. Gaurav has thought big and he has found all the problems. He's not fixed any problems actually. He's found all the problems. Now comes, how will you do all of these? Actual implementation. How do you keep the startup alive? Thinking is nice. You need money also, no? Making a plan, that's right. Prioritize the tasks, that makes sense. Sit with the team, plan before you just jump into the water and start kicking everywhere and try to solve everything. Because then they'll burn out. Always have a product at every part. So you are saying roll it out in iterations? Makes sense. These are all great ideas. There's two major overall advice that I would like to give. First one is, don't reinvent the wheel. You all came here by coming through a Razorpay page. I could have asked the dev team कि यार लोग आ रहे हैं, बहुत important है यार, हमको एक पेज बनाना है, हमको ट्रैकर भी दिखाना है, we need a tracker, we need a payment page, let's make a page, let's send them notifications. No, Razorpay does all this. We don't reinvent the wheel, we just give it to you and you like it. Okay, similarly AWS is there. I know a very famous YouTuber, by the way, who for 1 year was reading CA books, chartered accountancy books, because they wanted to save their taxes. And their 1 year, they're pretty well to do, so it's like 60-70 lakhs. 60-70 lakhs in their lifetime would not be spent on a CA. Had they, why did they waste 1 year? So, and this happens to a lot of people. So don't reinvent the wheel. Hire talented people. This is an interesting one. How many of you believe in this? To hire talented people. Okay, all of you are talented. That's the reason why you believe in hiring talented people. You need to hire people. You can't do everything yourself. If you have picked up very big goals, then you need people. Okay, here comes then problem number 3. Google का average salary क्या होगा software engineer का? 16, 17. How about let's take, I want the smartest, like guys who can tear any algorithm to shreds. Tower Research, how much is that? Starting salary, fresh out of college. Guy is basically, वो बाहर आता है और बोलता है मेरा पैन कार्ड नहीं आया लेकिन 45 lakhs आ गया है, चलो. This kind of talent would be nice, but can you afford it in a bootstrapped startup? You can't. Okay, so too bad. You can't get talent only, right? It's impossible. Problem is talent. Talent is how do you get talent? Money. How do you get money? Sales. How do you get sales? Talent. Same problem. The problem is not necessarily talent. There's a lot of talented folks, as you'll see in InterviewReady soon presenting. The problem is we don't have the right processes when we hire talent, right? These guys are really smart. What do you need to do? You need to stop wasting their time. If you don't have processes like, let's say, even something as simple as a Jira dashboard, you're going to make them go through 3 or 4 iterations. You're going to make them think what they're doing instead of just doing things. Okay? Lack of processes will waste your talent, whatever you have, and bad processes lose talent. This is something which is super critical in today's world for software engineering. I mentioned some companies, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, these are excellent companies. They do what works for them. InterviewReady does not need a data structure algorithm round. I do it क्योंकि मैं पढ़ाता हूँ और पैसे मिलते हैं, but I don't believe that is the best way to take talent at InterviewReady, definitely. Do I ask you to make a system design with whiteboard? No, क्योंकि तुम वहाँ पे डब्बे बनाओगे और मेरा $100 बढ़ता रहेगा, right? It's not practical. A startup cannot afford that. So a startup should not take processes which are industry standards. You need to take processes which are working according to you. So instead of setting up the process directly, set it up by yourself. The right processes will actually ask them to create something in the interview immediately, and that way you'll get talent. And talent is, it's not cheap, but it's affordable, and it's definitely worth it. Okay, so process beats talent. Just remember that. 3 big ideas: think big, fix problems, process beats talent. Okay, we go for the last idea. This is an interesting one. Okay. Product sales with a cancel. I've been talking about sales. And now I say, sales is not that important. I sound like the guy who's taking your rent and then says, I don't really care about money. How do you, is this something that companies can really afford to do? Not focus that much on sales? Or let me put it another way. What is the best indicator that people like you and will buy your product? Personal brand, okay. So Gaurav says buy the InterviewReady course, and of course all of you have bought it. No, I checked the stats. There's people, there's traitors amongst you, aren't there? Huh? Value for money, that is super important. Personal brand helps to get the word out, but it's a catalyst, yes. Value for money is critical. Okay, now, how do you measure value? Which part of it will give you value? Marketing will give you useful information. Design will give you a feeling of, this is doing the way it should be behaving. Engineering will give you, a stable working product. What is the most? The product idea, okay. What your customers are actually looking for, okay. Use case, what is the product use case, okay. So, success failure ratios, maybe payments, maybe passing, failing, okay. MOOCs में 4% है आपका success ratio. हाँ. कितने लोग place हो गए? You have come very close. Sorry. Referrals of customers, word of mouth, closely tied. Okay. Customer stories, okay. Yes, you guys have got it. That word is this, customer success stories. So you're absolutely right. Word of mouth is what you're all talking about, right? Word of mouth kab hoga? When you actually had a good experience. And that is when you had value for your money. So when a lot of us, when we are going to sell a product, including me in the start, I was like, aapko kya chahiye? I took a lot of interviews from people and I asked them, what do you want? I want to learn system design. Done. I went over there, I made a system design course, and then I went back to them and I said, okay, now time to buy. They're like, no. So I'm like, you goddamn liars. No, but where was the problem? The problem was, I didn't really want to listen, or at least I didn't really understand their problem. I went to them and asked them, what do you want? System design course? No. It's not the real problem. The problem is you want to be respected in the team meetings. You want to sit over there and be a good engineer. You want to switch companies. Those are problems. System design is knowledge, right? Or information. There's thousands of courses. So how do you solve the customer's problem? Comes not with one touch point ki le. It's more like, okay, what is your starting problem? I don't know anything. Here's the basics ka solution. Then you come back again. You come back again and then I tell you, okay, fine, try system design ka free course. What's happening here? I'm making a journey for you. I'm not making a product sale. I'm making a customer journey for you. Okay? It's important to think like the customer, and the only way you can do that is actually by talking to them, and the other thing is actually thinking about their journey. When you go to get a car insurance, it's not just that you want the money. You don't want your dad standing in a line. You don't want somebody asking you awkward questions. You don't want to wait 2 years for an insurance. These are all intangibles, which you'll only see when you actually go to do it. So that's the idea with us. We are now focused more on customer journeys. And yeah, listen to the customer even after they purchase the course. Try to get them into a dream company. Like, you purchased the course, job done. Screw you now. You didn't understand the course? Acha, no problem. That would be the worst word of mouth ever. Right? So you have to support them even after they're purchased. So for that we have Zoom calls every monthly. I think most of you have been there. The people. How many of you have been in the Zoom calls? I've seen you. I've seen, yeah, multiple people. Okay, cool. So you have to be the customer. 4 big ideas, and this is the last big idea. This was the 4th big idea. I ran out of ideas now. Think big. Don't think small. Otherwise, you'll be left with small solutions which will not really even, they'll revert. They'll again fall back. So think big. Second thing is fix problems. But more than fix problems, find all the problems. Don't go in the cycle of poverty, population. Process beats talent. And finally, be the customer. Okay? So all the best. And I think I can take a couple of questions. Yes.
question is that do you think that focusing a lot on the customer success at an early stage might tie you down to a very vicious cycle where you will have to cater to the wants and needs of the customer rather than, I feel like, my personal opinion, but I feel like is it okay to actually work more on the product and how it gives them an edge over other products? If that can be solved, I think the growth can be very organic.
Your question, I'll actually let Sajid answer that after his talk. Most likely it will answer the question directly. For example, there are certain things which have not been solved. Like I need to go to Mars. There are no customers for that. So you fix the product first before you come to the customers. But those are rare situations. Most of you, if you're looking at bootstrapped companies, will be looking at, getting the customers' feedback. How does it stop, how do you stop going into a vicious cycle? Sajid will explain this a little better, but I'll give you just a gist. You stay true to yourself, what you're creating. If you're creating a dance app and suddenly people say that, no, I also want this to be a selfie app, like while dancing, there should be a selfie. You have to think whether that is really in your product vision. There are many things. Even if you're YouTubing, right? You release a video on some concept, there'll be people who will say, nahi sir, or basics, or basics, or basics. Assignment operator sikha do. You can't always listen to everything that the customer says. But for example, all of you are paid here. Should I even for a second think that one of you has a malicious intent to, is giving me wrong feedback? No. Should always take your feedback and deal with it. Even if it is, let's say on YouTube, usually feedback is very useful. It's only very rarely that you have to remove it. So you probably won't fall into that cycle. Yes.
If you have a product, so in a startup, because many startups like the same concept, they are applying in a different way, like Zomato, Swiggy.
Oh, okay.
So how you?
Yes, Zomato and Swiggy, yes.
So how you cope up with the core should be updated and how you really put all the features which the users like and have the great product like.
It's very difficult, but also it is directed partly by competition. It's also partly directed by what your users want. So if you're getting data directly from the horse's mouth, no, versus data which is a guess from इनका sales हमसे ज़्यादा है, therefore हमको ऐसा करना चाहिए. This is an indirect way. Works much better to directly go and ask the customer. So and how do you deal with competitors who are okay? Let me put this simply. What if I have an e-commerce app today? Amazon will crush me like a bug, and that's the end of it. But if there is a place where your idea can be protected and it has an opportunity to grow, then go for it. Don't worry too much about the competitors as a startup. If your idea is in a space which is totally saturated anyway, then तो उधर startup खोल के पागलपंती है वहाँ पे. If ज़्यादा लोग नहीं हैं, then you can still grow. The other folks are not your competition. The customer has a problem. That problem has still not been solved. You can still solve it.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. I think I'll have to end on time. Thank you so much. See you.